All right, hello everyone. Today we have a bonus episode here for the 1 Acre at a Time podcast. I am your host, Racing Guy. None of our co-hosts are with us today. But today we're looking at the Backstretch Battles Cup Series playoff battle. Just 3 races left before the playoffs. So we'll take a look at the drivers that are locked in. Pineapple's locked in. That was pretty obvious. Banana Boy has locked himself in. Angelo is all but locked in. He's 2 points away from being locked into the playoffs. So he is, if he literally all he has to do is just not lose 48 points on the cut line and he's in. So he'll be fine. If we look at Angelo all but in to the playoffs in the 29. Part-time drivers, I'm actually locked in, even though I would qualify for the playoffs. So if I somehow it shouldn't happen, I'm only running like half the playoff race on my schedule. But if somehow a part-time driver manages to win the championship, we won't take it from them. So if I somehow manage to pull this off, it won't be taken away from me. That'd be part-time drivers. They're just drivers who aren't committed to running for a championship, and they just plan on winning races. But if they accidentally win a title, we'll give them the trophy, So, hopefully I go out there and win the last 3. But yeah, if that's just a possibility, but it's unlikely. But this is where things get really interesting. Now, the other part-time drivers, they could qualify in, but they're basically out of it. But those part-time drivers are those 2 part-time drivers are, actually everybody's technically in still. But let's look at the situations here. We'll start with all the drivers with 0 points. Mathematically, if they don't race in today's race, they're out of it. But, and they can't make it in on points. But they could still tie for the wild card spot. And, I don't really know what the series of events would be there if we have a tie, but, they could tie for the wild card spot, even if they don't show up to this race. They'd have to win both races after this one today, but it would be tough, but it is possible. Same with Billy and NASCAR. They're gonna need to win some races here if they want to make it in. They're gonna have to hope for a wild card spot. Thunder's got to win now. Thunder has a best friend in this case, and it's Doctor, which we'll get to in a second. Vega also basically going to have to win. He might be able to point his way in, but that would be tough. If he wins, he's in a good spot, maybe. He'd have to win. He'd have to finish like second in both races or get a win and then get third. If he doesn't show up to one. So Vega's in a tough spot, but it is possible for him. But where it really gets interesting is 7th to 4th place in points, because that battle there is going to affect the entire playoff grid. So Bloxicola, 39 points out, 7th in points right now. He could realistically point his way into the playoffs, but he's got he doesn't have a win yet, which he can still point his way into the playoffs without winning with 3 races left. 39 out. If he points ahead, assuming nothing else assuming, Angelo, Banana Boy, Pineapple, and myself are the only other drivers to show up, Bloxicola could point his way in, and the only thing that would change would be Truck getting eliminated. Now, if Dodge were to make it, it would be same thing. Nothing would change, except he's only 11 points out, and he's 6th in points. Then 5th place is Doctor, 8 points out of the playoffs. He's currently holding on to the last wild card spot, but this is where things get really interesting. If Doctor points his way in, which is looking pretty likely, if he points his way into the playoffs, that knocks Truck to 5th. Truck would be out of the playoffs. Doctor wouldn't get the wild card spot because he'd point his way in. It would then hand the wild card to 10th place in points Thunder with 1 win. Master would have the other one with 2 wins. Master, he's looking good to make the playoffs right now, assuming somebody doesn't come out of nowhere and tie him in the points from 11th to 20th in points. But if Doctor gets in, that hands Thunder the wild card spot. And you could easily have one of these drivers that haven't shown up. I mean, Fire, Jonathan, Easy Golf, like, these guys could easily win a race, tie Thunder, and that would be very interesting for the final playoff spot. So, yeah, just wanted to talk about that really quick because this playoff scenario could be very interesting. If Doctor gets in, handing the wild card spot, transferring it everywhere, he's still got several drives. Even Master, he's got the wild card spot, but he's only 40 points out. So there's probably four or five drivers that could point their way in, still realistically, and two of them have the 2 wild card spots. So it's gonna be very interesting to see here. We only have 3 races left, and it's going to be very exciting to see. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast, guys. I know it wasn't really weekly, but we're going to try to get it weekly now. So, yeah, see you guys in the next one. Make sure to follow the podcast for more ACRE talk. Subscribe to the channel to see the races, and, yeah, goodbye.